I think it means different things to many people, but as John Harris said this morning, it's to do with change, and it's to do with change in the direction of progress. And of course, then the problem is, how do you define that progress? For me, I think because I was born just almost the moment that the Second World War finished, and in a time of great hardship in Britain. And because my first long experience in a developing country was in Indonesia, where there was great poverty, but also great inequality, and at that time a dictatorial regime. Development to me means it has to do with improving welfare, not necessarily with growth, but particularly with improving the welfare of those who are least powerful and who have less chances in society. And it also goes with the process of emancipation, political emancipation, gender emancipation, freedom of expression, of thought, religion, and so on. I was asked with some others to write the chapter on land, which is of course a very important thing because it's what feeds us, it's what still the majority of people in the developing countries earn a living from. And so the way in which land is owned and controlled and what is done with it is very, very important. I will try in what I write to show that it's also a very contested thing, of course, and there's a lot of conflict about land. Land reforms usually are attempts to correct distortions when things have really gone wrong in systems of control over land. And one of the questions I will be asking the readers is, what do you think a good land reform should be able to do? Obviously, it has to assign land to people in a way that makes it possible for them to provision us with food, with feed for our livestock, with fuel, biofuel, with fiber for our clothes, many other things. It also has to provide jobs, and that's very important when we think of technology and the sort of battle going on between, on the one hand, large-scale industrial agriculture that seems to be not very good for the environment but also employs very few people, and then some small-scale alternative which peasant organizations claim can do this job of provisioning the world, but is not always very well defined. So arguments on different sides about forms of agricultural production will also be very important, I think. Well, I have to say, when I first heard about it, I thought, oh, not another massive volume about development that will send everyone to sleep. But when you hear the authors talking about how they're going to write these chapters, they're going to be a lot more lively than I thought, and I have warmed to this project, and I really hope that it will be a book well, perhaps nobody will read the entire book, but people will dip into it looking for what they want, and in each chapter they should find a summary of different ways in which people have thought about particular issues. I hope the authors will also tell us a bit about where they stand, but that's not the most important thing, but it's to show that many of these development issues are issues about which reasonable people can disagree and have disagreed throughout history, and challenge the reader to think about where he or she stands.